For thousands of years, human existence was an exhausting loop of chasing meals across unforgiving landscapes. The idea of stopping, of trusting one patch of dirt to keep you alive, was a massive risk. That risk finally made sense when small groups of nomads settled in the fertile strip between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Because the rivers flooded wildly every year, these early settlers dug networks of canals and dams. They trapped the chaotic floodwaters and channeled them directly into the dry, baking earth. This early engineering produced a massive surplus of barley, wheat, and dates. Humans suddenly had enough food to last through the year, freeing them from the daily grind of survival and giving them the time to build. That excess food funded the construction of Uruk and settlements that quickly expanded far beyond simple farming villages. This aerial view of the city layout shows the scale they achieved 5,000 years ago. Tens of thousands of strangers lived shoulder to shoulder in organized networks of mud brick homes and wide streets. But packing that many different families and traders into one dense area created friction. Disputes over property, trade, and theft threatened to tear these cities apart from the inside. Thick city walls could keep invaders out, but maintaining order inside required a formal set of rules to govern human behavior. This tall stone pillar shows a king named Hammurabi carving 282 specific rules for the public to see. It was the first comprehensive written legal code. It established the concept of exact retaliation, an eye for an eye, meaning punishments had to match the crime. Crucially, the code dictated that the law was superior to the king's whims. Even the ruler was bound by these carved words. This legal order allowed the economy to thrive. Farmers grew so much barley they fermented it into a thick beer, which became so central to daily life that it was used to pay laborers' wages. This grid-like cuneiform tablet is physical evidence of how these laws protected private citizens. Records like this show that women held significant legal standing, including the right to own property and execute binding marriage contracts. We see this female agency clearly in Enheduanna, a high priestess and the daughter of Sargon of Akkad. She composed temple hymns and is recognized today as the first named author in recorded history. Through written rules, structured wages, and binding contracts, the people of the river valleys moved beyond simple farming to create a highly organized, legally bound society. Still, they knew their prosperity depended on nature. They believed every storm, flood, and harvest was controlled by specific deities who required constant attention. To connect with these gods, they built ziggurats, massive stepped structures meant to act as literal stairways to the heavens. Priests used these heights to commune with the divine and ensure the city's survival. As their power peaked, they looked outward for resources, establishing trade routes for Egyptian timber and Persian precious stones. They even exchanged textiles for Harappan goods from the Indus Valley, miles away, a connection proven by Indian seals found in Iraqi soil. By pulling resources and ideas from across the ancient world, Mesopotamia transformed from isolated river settlements into a global hub of commerce. But the irrigation canals that helped these cities grow also caused their collapse. Flooding fields under the baking sun left a toxic white salt layer. Over centuries, this salt poisoned the soil, causing crop yields to flatline and collapse. As the soil failed, the region was hit by a severe climate shift, bringing prolonged droughts that dropped river levels to record lows. The lack of food sparked a deadly chain reaction. Malnutrition allowed diseases to sweep through the dense cities, while city-states turned their weapons on each other to fight over dwindling grain supplies. The agricultural failure shattered their social cohesion. With the environment exhausted and their internal order collapsed, the remaining cities were left vulnerable to any outside force. This mosaic shows Alexander the Great, whose conquest in 331 BC marked the final end of an independent Mesopotamia. The enormous ziggurats and labyrinthine walls were abandoned. Over thousands of years, wind and time buried the entire civilization under millions of tons of desert sand. They lay completely forgotten until the 1840s, when explorers digging through the Iraqi dunes finally struck stone, unearthing towering, winged statues from the dirt. This rock carving, known as the Behistun inscription, provided the translations needed to finally read cuneiform. By comparing the known languages on this cliff to the unknown symbols, scholars learned to decode thousands of clay tablets. These translated records detailed the specifics of their daily life, the organization of urban centers, the writing of comprehensive legal codes, and the logistics of international trade. Mesopotamia shows that civilization is fragile. Even the most sophisticated society will fail if it destroys the earth that feeds it.